Hello everyone, welcome back to the Replay Studio. Today we're going to be checking out a very exciting series, I hope. I just completed, my reaction for Dark on the channel, and I needed something unique, something interesting to replace it. This, of course, is very, very different. Dark is science fiction. This is more fantasy. I know nothing about the franchise in and of itself. I saw the trailer and it intrigued me very much because, as you all know, the only thing that rivals my love for science fiction is my love for fantasy and magic. So I saw the trailer for this, and it reminded me a lot of Narnia, to be honest. The in terms of the feel, the world that I actually saw there. But there are a lot of similarities to other series that you would have seen that involved magic. But yeah, I mean, from what I saw, I was actually quite impressed. One of my minor gripes with I watched the Witcher as well, and one of my minor gripes with that series was, I didn't think it was grand enough. The world didn't feel as grand as I wanted it to be. And just from watching this trailer alone, I actually felt that. So I'm hoping that they don't hold back on all the magic and the supernatural and the fantasy elements, because that, I think, is what makes these stories so much more compelling than others. So I'm hoping this will deliver on that front. From reading the comments in the YouTube section for the trailer, I do know it's based on a series of novels, I think, which I have not read. I really do need to catch up on my reading. I really do. But I've not read the novels. From what I've seen, fans appear to be very excited about this, and I suspect, as it is with most series of this kind that are adaptations, that the showrunner may take some creative liberties with the project. But from what others have said, from the trailer alone, it appears they have, at least from what has been shown, they have tried as best as possible to actually follow the source material. No, I do have a bit of some hesitation going in, because I've watched a few similar YA series in this genre, and the Shannara Chronicles comes to mind, and I thought that had some great elements in it. But that one failed to deliver for me. So I'm hoping that this excites me a bit more, intrigues me a bit more. From the trailer alone, I feel it has, which is why I'm gonna be checking this out. But hopefully it delivers on all fronts. So yeah, Shadow and Bone, guys, episode 1. Let's check it out.
I live in East Ravka, but I've never been welcome here. Because I look like my mother, and she looked like the enemy.
Alina, how can you do that in here?
Bumps help with texture.
Oh, so they're at war. This is sort of like their military. That's a very unique take on having magic mixed into that realm.
Real. The Fold ate your parents.
The Fold.
It's the reason for many of the orphans here. North want our Grisha dead. The South guards its mountains. We have
Only
no
one way
else to
through.
go. Keep a pencil in your hand, or else someone will put a rifle in it instead.
Only 2 options.
Now, I'm old enough to know the only way out is through.
After all these years, I'd be curious to know what is on the other side of that. This is why I'm not the protagonist in a story.
You'll be right, won't he? I'm sure we'll find out.
Might learn a thing or two hunting rabbits.
How about it? Just you and me.
It's not.
Shut it down, boys. Shut it down. You try
That's not fair.
It's just there. Come on.
Yeah, coward. So I mean, they from the looks of it, even though they were fighting, they appear to be on the same side, just not from the same place. What are they fighting for exactly? All right, fire, air.
This is why our tents got moved. Grisha wanted more space.
Pretty good effects.
That looks new.
Brand new.
I like their relationship so far.
Ultralight. Made by their own fabricators. Supposed to be fast.
I'm guessing she's his love interest, of course.
Listen up. I know some of you have been on the road for a week, so I'll be brief. Most of you will continue north to the Fjordan front lines.
How long has this war been going on? No one wants to be assigned to that.
Oh, now be.
Last ship didn't come back.
I call the nightmare lottery. For the supply run across the fold.
One of them will be assigned, I guess.
Malyen Oretsev.
Yeah, Mal.
Maziamentov.
You're our unit.
Rifleman. Valek Chaphenyo.
Has to be an error.
I guess you don't have a choice here.
Back and line up by rank. Dismissed.
Well, if it does work, I'll get to visit Canada.
Alright, I'm still getting accustomed to the world or learning as much as I can. I mean, the North and the South appears to be at odds, but this war has been going on for so long, since she was a child to now. Still not sure what exactly the war is about.
Hey, you take Zimby coin, yes?
Lucky 9 Casino at the block has had trouble with counterfeit coin lately. Heavy, but brittle.
Oh, come on now. I've been here.
Okay.
Hey, wait! What are you?
No loud noises at the table, Jasper. Scare off the pigeons.
Would want that, boss.
Shouldn't you be on the door?
Yeah, right away, boss.
Rotty truly is vile. How did he get through past all of that security?
Hello, Inesh. What information do you have for me tonight?
I'm guessing she stole it, judging by the way she moves. Silently.
A wealthy merchant.
Dreesen.
I've heard of him.
He's looking for a crew willing to cross the fold into East Ravka and bring back something.
The Fold.
So this is an entirely different faction that wants to enter the
Brought
fold.
someone in from a ship. Took away back to his house in the Garden District to avoid attention.
I thought no one came back the last ship that went, so how would he even know what's beyond it to be willing to pay that much money?
Private security. Anyone we know?
A Zemini man. I think his name is Tendo. You know him?
Yeah. He gambles at one of Pekka's clubs.
So I guess he's not as you know, he's not as generous as he appears. He's just making an investment. It's just business for him.
If we're going to survive a round trip through the fold, we'll need a miracle or two.
I don't know if the menagerie is some sort of brothel he perhaps saved her when he recognized that she had abilities.
You girl doing
I'm guessing.
I'm Ravkan, on the cartography team.
She's half shoe. An orphan.
The hell does it matter?
back of the lane. Your friend.
I mean, she's with the army.
You can get arrested for that. Stealing from Second Army will get you thrown in a hole. Hang on. Aren't you one of our escorts for the crossing?
That's right.
Seem to be indulging yourself.
Zoya, I'm a squaller.
What's a squalor?
When I get nerves the night before, I like to have a good tumble with a stranger. Clears my head.
Okay. Why not?
You don't seem like the type who does what they should.
If you could get killed for stealing some grapes, I don't think this is a great idea. Alright, so she just put out a flame. So our squalors, well, she could have just used wind, so it may not be flame. So I guess it's one of the two elements. I thought that the very first time that she entered and he magically appeared, like, how do you know she was here?
I have something for you.
Where did you get these?
Ask, don't ask.
Margarita 10.
And he declined the invitation. I'm guessing because he has some affections for her.
Did you see the lieutenant?
Yeah.
Way out.
And?
Turns out they do need me.
How generous of you. Might just shoot his dick off or something. Alright, so she's definitely going to be sneaking onto the ship to
Made hundreds of years
follow
ago by
him.
that crazy Grisha.
The Black Heretic.
Yeah, the one who controls Shadow, right? Well, they got one in their army now, don't they? General Kerrigan.
Have you ever put out fire by adding more fire?
Then what's the opposite of this?
A sun summoner.
Right, then one of those.
Doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist.
So Shadow and Sun Summoners.
I intercepted a note from Dreesen.
Did you now?
It's for the owner of the Orchid. Says they require the services of a Heartrender tonight.
Alright, there are a lot of terms being thrown around that I'm going to need to learn about. Heartrender.
That's how we get this job before anyone else.
Someone to compel you to speak. Or speak the truth.
Just one problem. Pick a Roland's nose.
No? I guess it's a chase to see who can get into the fold safely and back.
Pick a Rollins.
Why would you go in with a handshake? They came in as weapons. Oh, you suck at your job, man. Where's all your security? Guess they took care of them.
Straight to it, I'm in a bit of a rush. I'm in need of a Heartrender tonight for a $1 million Kruger job. And you got one at the Orchid.
So he's gonna kill her afterwards. No! Exactly. You should have used that 100% to get some damn good security. He only has two guys. Just say yes. After he leaves, screw you. Get more men. I mean, they said this. What is it? The South is heavily guarded, and I guess there's a war in the North. But those seem like much more viable options than trying to go through this thing that you have no idea what's on the other side, and people keep dying going there. What is she doing? Oh, is she trying to force them to take her with them?
How did this happen?
We don't know. We were extra careful to secure all the lanterns.
And what was damaged?
That is obvious. Someone just threw it in there.
On the other side of the dam fold. Those.
She can recreate them.
Put me on the skiff. I'll go.
Yes, you will.
Okay, no questions asked. Oh, damn. Yeah. That's not great. Now she's sort of doomed her entire unit. It's not a risk that they wanted to take.
What are you doing here?
We've been
She did something stupid.
Orders.
Get off this boat now, or I'll carry you off.
Raise the gate!
Yeah, it's too late for either of you.
I'll make it.
So are they on opposite sides of the fold? Because the girl in the bar, she said they've got one of them. I thought we were on the same side.
We go into the fold. It gets dark, but we like it dark. That keeps us from drawing attention. That's how we travel. The only
Inferno.
light we use is the blue one at the mast. It's weak, but
Where's your general, Kerrigan?
that's our cue.
This will be interesting. It seems it has to be entirely dark when they go through, so let's go.
Till we reach the western dry docks.
Are they
you
going
are
to
remain at your station? Do not, I repeat, do not leave the skiff during the crossing.
Who would even do that? I take it back. Someone's gonna make a stupid decision. Wait, he's not going with them? That was a shadow summoner guy, right? I thought he was supposed to be with them. That looks fantastic. Something's out there. Oh, I guess that was the last skiff. Didn't make it very far. Something's out there. Stay calm. I still don't understand why they have an Inferno with them. I don't think her using fire magic would make things any better. Oh, blue light's out. Wait, no. What are you doing? What is he doing?
What are you doing?
Oh my god. Are you deaf? Oh, Jesus. You had one instruction. Stop shooting and douse the fire. So what was her purpose? What? All they have to do is douse the fire. It's not done yet. Alright. Thank goodness she wasn't a terrible shot here. These guys are terrible at their job.
I'll meet you at the meadow.
Is he dead? Ah, damn. Alright, so I saw from the trailer that she had light instead of her of some sort. So I suppose she's the rare sun summoner. Oh, that went terribly.
Your orders. It's been too long.
Presumed dead. Oh. He made it? How? Looks to be the one that jumped overboard.
Really appreciate and do business, but you've only paid for an hour of my time.
Yeah, I don't think you want to go back there.
Your kid isn't safe tonight. Your life's in danger.
Your boss is dead, lady.
One look and I can tell. Criminals. I'm not meeting anyone till midnight.
As opposed to Pecker, who's not a criminal.
She stays. And we have an exclusive on this job.
Mr. Brecker. No businessman worth his salt hires his first animal.
I've got one of these too.
No businessman worth his salt bargains for what he can take.
The brave man, Brecker.
I have to be back in an hour.
All right, come on. Is Alexei Stepanov. 2 weeks ago, young Alexei here crossed through the fold.
Oh, okay. There's a time skip between these two scenes. How did they get him from the military?
Expedition was swarmed by Volcra. Should have been a total loss. But something happened. Some device detonated. Obliterated the Volcra. Lit up the dark like a forest.
No, so they still don't know that it's her.
This was some invention no one had seen before.
Thought the ship didn't make it through. And he wasn't on the ship, is he not the guy that jumped overboard? Unless I'm mistaken. So where's the ship? Okay, he did jump.
You won't believe me. This was a sun summoner.
Got great eyes if you saw that from that distance. In blinding light in the dark.
Who was it?
Don't sell out your friend.
If I tell you, you'll set me free?
You have my word.
No, he won't. He won't want anyone else to hear about this. You will die if you say that
Her
name.
name is Alina Starkov.
Well, goodbye. He won't want you sharing that secret with anyone else.
Perfect.
You'll set me free now.
Thank you. Of course. We are now the only people west of the fold with this information.
The prize is 1 million.
But no one has a way through the fold. Not even Pecker Rollins. Alright, so there we have the first episode of Shadow and Bone. One of the things I really like that the series has done so far is, it's laying the foundation for, this massive, becoming this massive world, and conflict between those on opposite sides of the actual fold. I'm still not clear on the geography of it all, but I suspect as the episodes progress that I'll gather a better understanding as to where everything actually is. I will do some groundwork to try to, at the very least, understand I'm hoping the show will explain that for me. But there are some phrases and things like that are being used and thrown around. What's a squalor? Some of them are self-explanatory. And so some are self-explanatory, but others are unfamiliar to me. So I would want to try to familiarize myself with that bit. Yeah, but for the most part, I'm very intrigued. One of my main complaints with a lot of similar shows, they either they don't spend the time necessary to actually lay the groundwork, lay the foundation for the world itself, because it tends to be the pacing tends to be a bit slow when that is done, but it's absolutely necessary, and the payoff is that much more worth it when you get to the actual climax or at the end of that season. So they are taking the time to explain to us on the why they can't go around the fold, they have to go through it. But I still there's still a lot of mystery there, and I love that after just watching the first episode, there's still a lot of things that I'm curious to know about. Some things. I'm hoping they don't. A lot of similar shows try make some mistakes by sort of dragging out the romantic element, of the series. I'm hoping they sort of sidestep that. Not to say that I don't love the relationship between Mal and Alina. I do very much. They seem to have great chemistry. I just hope it isn't at the forefront for several seasons, because that is what tends to happen in a lot of these series, that, it's the will they, won't they that is carried on for 3, 4, 5 seasons, and you just never know. But and by the time you actually get to that point, you've absolutely lost interest. And the good thing here is that they both appear to know that they have affections towards the other. They've just not communicated it to the other person. So it's not a case where, okay, it's a love triangle and that's enthralled into the story or anything to that effect. I don't particularly love those, but it can be done well. And I'm hoping that this show will actually do that correctly. And they started off on a great premise with their friendship, and seeing the flashbacks to where they grew up, and realizing that in this world apparently you only have 2 choices. As the lady at the orphanage said, you either have to have a pencil in your hand or a rifle. So she had 2 options. She had to become a cartographer or join the army. Although you seem to end up in the same place, I guess it's just a matter of whether you'll be in a high risk position or not. But she's still a part of the same army, and she still got dragged into this whole mess, unfortunately, by her own making, because she, in her attempt to want to help Mal, she got her entire crew dragged into this entire mess, which was not great on her part, but I guess she didn't see that coming. Yeah. So I'm very fascinated with the magic, as I've said before. The only thing that that rivals my love for science fiction is fantasy, and I love that element that I'm seeing so far. The Shadows Summoners. We didn't see Kirigan, I think his name is. But it appears as though those summoners are few and far apart, very rare. Um, and apparently, from what I gathered, there was another shadow summoner who created the fold in the first place. But where did these monsters inside the fold actually come from? Were they summoned with this shadow, with the fold? Well, if the fold is an actual spell, I'm assuming, of some sort anyway. Um, because they were destroyed with the light when Alina, released her sun element. They seem to have just evaporated. So they exist only in the shadow. I'm curious to know whether this world expands to the point where there are creatures like this outside of the fold, or are they just confined to within that realm. So very very interesting. So we have a few elements we want to see. I'm assuming that the squallers are those that manipulate wind, and what was it, the in infirmer, something it controls the flame. And we have shadow and sun. So those are the only four elements that we have been exposed to so far. There could be more, but we have others with abilities like the Heartrender, who I suspect is able to compel you to. I'm curious as to how her ability actually works. I'm not sure if she was compelling him to speak the truth, or whether she was just, sort of making him a bit more tempered, so his mind is calm and he's able to actually say it. So is she forcing information out of him, or is she just allowing him to be comfortable enough to actually speak? So I'm sure we'll see more of her. But the other thing that's interesting is just the power play that we're seeing between Kaz and Pecker and the other characters that are rolling around in this world. Um, there does appear to be a time, a time difference between the two sides. Um, so I didn't pick that up initially until they actually revealed the cartographer that came from the fold. So this would mean that Alina and her team would be 2 weeks somewhere else, but where exactly are they? They didn't come through the side that he came through. So did they go back the way they came? Or is this another situation similar to what The Witcher did, where you're going to be following separate events that are in two different time frames, and then at some point they'll actually come together? So yeah, curious to know how exactly that actually will work out. But for the most part, I mean, I'm loving the world. Inej seemed like a very interesting character. I think she said she worked at the menagerie, which I'm assuming it was some sort of brothel, and Kaz saved her. But as to whether Kaz, he seems to be very much a businessman. He said he appears to collect rare things, and is not so much doing it because he felt sympathy for her of any sort. She was trying to convince him to save someone else from another brothel, I'm assuming, and he declined because he said that person is not special. So he's a collector of things, and that makes him a very interesting character, different from all the others that we were actually introduced to. I do think he has a heart, even in his conversation with Inej, despite saying that, he made an investment essentially, and he, it does feel as though he has some compassion towards her. It's not clear, but I don't think he's just doing this as a business transaction, at least where she's concerned. So it'd be interesting to see whether his character evolves a bit, or whether, or devolves and becomes something else. So I'm very intrigued by all these characters, and that is the most compelling thing about this. And what makes fantasy like this work for me personally is when there are interesting characters on their own outside of the main overarching story, and seeing where those characters go, seeing them interact and travel together. And yeah, so I thoroughly enjoyed the very first episode, and I'm intrigued enough to want to see more. So I'll definitely be following through with the remaining episodes, and hopefully you will join me for the journey. So be sure to post down below, let me know what your thoughts are on this episode. Hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys for the next one.